I have been following the National Football League for decades, and if there is one thing I've learned about the Philadelphia Eagles, it is that the spotlight in this city never dims, especially when things start to go sideways. Right now, the situation involving star wide receiver A.J. Brown is escalating from a standard sideline disagreement into something much more concerning for the future of this organization. I want to look closely at the details because this isn't just about a player wanting the ball. It is about the fundamental chemistry of the locker room. But before I break down the technical aspects of this drama and the trade rumors swirling around the NovaCare complex, I need you to do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like to support our coverage, and most importantly, I want to know where you are watching from today. Drop your city in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing the global reach of the Eagles fan base. Now, let us get into the heart of the matter. The recent reports from Yardbarker and Fansided have painted a picture of a player who is reaching a breaking point with the current offensive direction. We all saw that viral sideline exchange between A.J. Brown and head coach Nick Sirianni. To the untrained eye, it looks like a competitive player being passionate, but to those of us who analyze the nuances of team dynamics, it looked like a total breakdown in communication. I have watched the tape, and the frustration isn't just about one play or one series. It is about a consistent pattern where the offense seems to lose its identity in high-pressure moments. A.J. Brown is a technician on the field. He thrives on rhythm and precision. When that rhythm is disrupted by questionable play calling or a lack of schematic adjustment, a player of his caliber feels the weight of it more than anyone else. I find it particularly telling that he has begun skipping media duties. In my experience, when a veteran leader chooses silence over the microphone, it is because they are afraid that if they speak, they will say something that cannot be taken back. This kind of internal tension is a poison for a team with championship aspirations. The analysts at Pro Football Network are already starting to debate the long-term viability of keeping a disgruntled star, regardless of his talent level. We have to ask the question, why is this happening now? Last year, the connection between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown was the engine that drove this team to a Super Bowl appearance. This year, something feels fundamentally different. The connectedness that Nick Sirianni often preaches seems to be fraying. I've noticed that on several key third down situations, the timing just isn't there. Whether it's a slight hesitation in the pocket or a route that isn't being run with the usual crispness, the results are the same: incompletions and visible anger. This is the why behind the rumors. When the production doesn't match the potential, the first place people look is the relationship between the star player and the coaching staff. I have seen this movie before in Philadelphia. This city has a history with dominant, outspoken receivers, and the endings aren't always pretty. What makes this situation so volatile is that the Eagles' offense is currently built around the gravity that A.J. Brown creates. He draws the double teams. He opens up the lanes for the run game and for Devontae Smith. If he is not mentally and emotionally engaged, the entire system begins to collapse. I am looking at the way other teams are beginning to defend the Eagles, using more shells and bracket coverage to take away Brown's primary routes. Instead of finding creative ways to scheme him open, the offense has occasionally looked stagnant, leading to those heated moments on the bench. It is a classic case of expectations meeting a harsh reality. The Eagles are a team that expects to dominate, and when they struggle, the personalities involved are bound to clash. I don't think we can overstate how much of an impact this has on the younger players in the locker room. When they see their top dog visibly frustrated with the head coach, it creates a permission structure for others to voice their own grievances. That is how a season can spiral out of control. We are at a critical juncture where the leadership of this team needs to step up and provide some clarity. Is this just a temporary rough patch, or are we witnessing the beginning of the end for A.J. Brown in Philadelphia? The technical breakdown of the offense suggests that the problems are fixable, but the emotional breakdown might be much harder to repair. I will be watching closely to see if there is any movement or public reconciliation in the coming days, because the silence right now is deafening. Continuing our deep dive into the A.J. Brown situation, we have to address the elephant in the room, the financial and logistical reality of a potential trade. I have been looking into the salary cap implications, and quite frankly, moving a player like A.J. Brown is a nightmare for a front office. We are talking about a dead cap hit that could exceed $40 million, depending on the timing of a move. For a general manager like Howie Roseman, who prides himself on cap flexibility and long-term planning, that is a bitter pill to swallow.
However, as I have learned in this league, if a situation becomes toxic enough, the money becomes secondary to the culture. Fansided has argued that the Eagles must end the drama now, even if it means taking a massive financial hit, because the alternative is a locker room divided against itself. I also want to touch on what Shannon Sharpe said recently. He was incredibly critical of A.J. Brown's conduct, specifically citing how public displays of frustration can undermine a head coach's authority. Sharpe has a point. When you are a star of that magnitude, your actions carry more weight. If you are seen yelling at the coach on the sideline, you are essentially telling the rest of the team that the coach doesn't have the answers. That is a dangerous message to send, especially when you are trying to make a deep playoff run. I look at teams like the San Francisco 49ers, who have multiple stars with big personalities, but they manage to keep their frustrations largely behind closed doors. The fact that this is spilling out into the public eye in Philadelphia tells me that the internal filters have broken down. There is a real sense of urgency here. If the Eagles don't find a way to integrate A.J. Brown back into the fold emotionally, the trade rumors will only grow louder as we head into the offseason. I have analyzed the potential trade market, and while every team in the league would love a receiver with his physical tools, not every team is willing to deal with the perceived diva baggage that often comes with this kind of drama. It is a delicate balance. On one hand, you have an elite talent who can win any one-on-one matchup. On the other, you have a player whose public frustration is becoming a weekly storyline. The technical aspect of this is that the Eagles' passing game is too reliant on isolation routes. When those don't work, there is no plan B that satisfies a player like Brown. I've noticed a lack of pre-snap motion and creative stacking that other elite offenses use to protect their stars from bracket coverage. If the coaching staff doesn't evolve the scheme, the frustration will persist. It is not just about giving him the ball, it's about how you give him the ball. I believe Nick Sirianni and his offensive staff are under just as much pressure as A.J. Brown right now. They have to prove they can manage these elite personalities while still producing a high-level product on the field. In summary, the Philadelphia Eagles are at a crossroads with one of their most important players. The reports of trade rumors aren't just media fabrication, they are the natural byproduct of visible, unresolved tension. I think we need to prepare ourselves for a very loud offseason in Philadelphia. Whether the team chooses to double down on A.J. Brown and fix the schematic issues, or decides to move on and recoup whatever value they can, the decision will define the next 3 years of this franchise's window. I don't see a middle ground here. Either the relationship is repaired through winning and better communication, or the sad exit we are all fearing becomes an inevitable reality. I will be here to track every update, every cap adjustment, and every locker room quote to give you the most technical and reliable analysis possible. The Eagles have the talent to fix this, but do they have the will? That is the question that will be answered on the field and in the front office in the coming weeks. I want to thank you for sticking with me through this deep dive into the Birds' current crisis. It's a complex situation with no easy answers, but that is why we love this game. Don't forget to check your subscription status so you don't miss our next update on this developing story. It is a situation that could change with one phone call or one meeting, and I'll be the first to let you know what it means for our team. Fly, Eagles, fly, but let's hope they start flying in the same direction soon.